was talking.
Indeed, how's it going?
Good. I was actually you. Kim asked about you this morning. She's like,
Yes, she did?
yeah. She's like, what's up with Sauce? Is he mad at you?
Yeah.
I said, I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe. Who knows?
What was that?
What?
What, it was what? I missed what you said.
I said. She asked, what's up with Sauce? I said, I don't know. And she said, is he mad at you? And I said, I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure.
No, I'm not mad. I needed a bit of a timeout from internet stuff.
So did I.
I think yeah, I know, we feel each other on that. Like, I think you know what I'm saying about, when you try and take your life seriously, you need to cut some shit out of your life.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to do.
It's well and simply said as well because I basically took big time out from the internet as well, and it's when you want to take some shit seriously, you got to cut other shit out of your life. It's that simple.
It's true.
I built a chicken coop.
Oh, sound disappeared as soon as I put my. Okay, that's going off.
I built a chicken coop out of reclaimed wood that we got out of the trash from different places, and it was a big project. It took me like a month or something,
Nice.
but and it was it caused a lot of growth and some friction, but overall it was a revelatory project. I gotta take this phone call. It's my dad.
Yeah.
Hi, Dad. Okay, um, that's fine. Or you can text me. Would be better, ideally. But because I'm a lot more responsive to my phone than I am to anything else. Do you text ever? Okay, I heard you. It's fine. I heard you. I'll check my email. Okay, don't worry about it. I hear you. So I will check my email and I will get a communication from you about that later. Okay, cool. Love you. Bye. He's so deaf. He can't hear a goddamn
The
thing.
little. Just to the end there says everything that needs to be said about that. Yeah, it's easier to text, but oh no, it's cool. Yeah, that's too much. Okay, yeah, no, that sounds right. Yeah, you just email me. It's fine.
It's like you realize that early in that salvo that you're gonna lose this battle. He's way older. He's way older than you are, and way
Yeah,
more old as a consequence. You know, he's not that adaptable.
yeah,
It's like he turns his phone off when he's not making calls usually.
yeah. Like, I have the same thing with my grandfather. Yeah, it's kind of funny. ISTJ. Though.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I'm returning to spend time with my parents again after not spending a whole lot of time with them for a couple of years. I just been busy doing my own thing. But they always have done their own things as well. It's not just because I'm busy doing my own things, because they're always off to one of the timeshares to Home Desert or whatever. My dad's like
Yeah,
he's always been a goer and doer kind of person. So, but now they're slowed down. They don't have any choice in the matter really because my mom can't really travel anymore. So my dad is resigning himself to the fact that he's going to be home a lot, and because he's home a lot, he gets he needs more help. It's like in general, he's needed more help for a long time with my mom, but he hasn't really reached out for it. So now I'm integrating back into like that family life that was has been dormant for a couple of years or so. Really, when Candace and I were married, we used to go over there once a week for dinner, and it was pretty. Made sure we maintained regular contact. But when Candace and I split up, between then and last couple of months, um, I didn't have any regular structured contact with him really like that. It was just I'd stop by occasionally or whatever. So
I
returning to the
mean,
family,
it's a good thing though. Like, not to be too negative about things. I mean, it's like I was having a similar conversation with a friend of mine the other day about him going back to Austria, and you know, his uncle's 95 and his aunt is like 93, and he's saying, "Time I go back, I think this will be the last time." And I say, "Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, and it's like, and it's like it is important, like with people and things. I mean, you don't want to be too negative about it. And I was saying to him, like, dwell on this whole negativity thing about you know spending time because you must kind of thing, and all of this sort of thing. But it's more about just spending quality time for the sake of spending quality time, right? Like,
I see it as an opportunity,
it's kind of interesting.
an opportunity to reconnect with my dad. Really, my parents both went away because I. It's strange, but it's like I like my mom in her current state. I it doesn't bother me at all. It's not like she still has all the echoes and quirks of my mom without actually making any sense. And she's pretty easy to deal with. It's like having a kid around. It's like having a little kid around. Um, like the other night, we went over there and Kimberly was making tacos, and my mom decided she was hungry during the cooking process, and she decided that she was gonna make herself a taco with the raw ground beef, which hadn't been cooked yet. And Kimberly had to
Oh
like
my god.
intervene and whoa, 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 no, you can't eat that. That kind of shit happens.
Yeah. So is it Alzheimer's or
I mean, it's just unspecified dementia. She's
dementia? Okay.
she's lost the ability to use language effectively. So even when she was more lucid than she is now, she'd search around for the words she was looking for even simple things. Um, and
Shit, Eric, that's gotta be really fucking hard.
well, I mean, it's not so hard for me. It's just weighty. It's weighty because um, it just drives home SI shit. Like,
Yeah, like fuck. Of course it does.
right. You know that John
It's
Mayer song? The one that says,
it's maybe a little bit too FI for your polar FI, but have you gone through the dealing with the loss thing already?
the loss of my mom.
just as who she was. I mean, I don't want to be like, I mean, I don't want to be too negative, but I mean, I know this scenario.
No, I don't think I really have dealt with it yet.
It's yo whiskey. It's
Just
yeah,
save
it's a
the old one
fucking
then.
heavy ass scenario, man.
Yeah, it's. I don't think I really have dealt with it. Um, you know, I can still see her and hug her, and usually when I show up, she'll say, "Oh, it's nice to see you again," which is is like strangely comforting. It's like she's in a way she's nicer now. She's slowly
Yeah,
given up responsibility for things, and
yeah,
so she just kind of waits for you to feed her. Like, okay, I'm gonna make you
yeah.
some one of these healthy choice lunches now, mom. Okay, great. Like it just doesn't even occur to
But
her anymore that she
it's the
can.
kind of thing that like while you're there, it's kind of like you get that kind of it's nicer and it's relaxed. It's easier. There's less sort of interaction stuff and things, but it's after the fact, and then you kind of come home yourself, and then you kind of look back and you think about it and kind of hold your head in your hands, kind of thing. Like it's kind of heavy, right? Like it's
And the thing is,
yeah, that's hard, man.
my dad hid that. My dad hid my mom's decline from me until it was too significant to hide, I guess. And then he talked to us about it. He talked to me and Delilah about it.
What's going on, guys?
We're talking
We're
about
just having a
sad ass
conversation.
shit.
Yeah, we can liven it up. I want to let you dwell, man. I just sort of yeah. No,
Now let's double down and talk about
it's hard.
genocide.
Double down and talk about what?
Talk about genocide.
I don't know. Even though it's millions of deaths, it's somehow preferable to a personal loss. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't really feel anything about distant news deaths.
Yeah,
But I feel
yeah,
things about my parents and the passage of time as it links to myself.
yeah, absolutely. I know what you mean about the SI as well. Yeah,
It's hard
yeah,
to
it's hard.
it's hard to look up from your current life and realize that while you were looking at your current life, these other threads of your life that were once significant to you are no longer there to be picked up again in a moment's notice. That they
Yeah,
they they've disappeared forever or changed forever.
that's what I was meaning about the dealing with the loss thing. That's how it presented itself to me. Is that like just understanding finality and kind of trying to get your head around it because it invades your mind much more than you think. I mean, you think like, oh, well, actually, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. Maybe I'll feel a bit shit some days, but mostly I'm fine. But it invades your psyche, and it's something that you have to come to terms with and deal with. You know.
Well, that's good advice.
Yeah. It's just, yeah. I mean, it's a sad situation, and yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah. I feel you on that one, man. That's horrible.
It's just part of the
So
human
how
condition. I
It
mean,
is, but that's the thing. I think SI can kind of also be your ally in this as well. Like using the kind of comfort-based memories
Hold on a second.
of the person. So, yeah, sure.
Yo! Okay, hold on a second. Sorry, guys. Kim's calling me.
No problem. Yo, whiskey. Sorry, you just jumped in and we were having a bit of a solemn conversation.
Oh, right. Fair. Probably just bad timing on my part.
No, fuck it. How could it be bad timing? You didn't know what was going on, man.
Yeah. Well, just being off a Discord, like, come back online for the first time.
I did exactly the same fucking thing. Weird.
Oh, lol. Being so busy lately, I've hardly had any time to socialise with anyone.
Oh, me too, man. Like, I miss socializing with people and just having camaraderie.
I haven't really had time to think about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I just passed the point of not having time to think about it and getting into the position of sort of having a bit more time to be able to relax and then sort of yearning for it almost, if you get my drift.
Yeah, sometimes you just need that little bit of socialising. Yeah, I know what you mean. Just being so engrossed with what I'm doing as well, just so interested in what I'm learning. I've learned so much as well.
You're still doing your engineering?
Yeah.
Nice.
Understanding concepts I didn't even imagine. So much fun. Potentially starting a business soon, so...
Oh, yeah.
Of course. It's just gotten so much influence by what I'm learning. And, it's also bringing together a lot of stuff that I've suspected before in the past and confirming a lot of my own hypotheses. So
yeah,
it solidifies. It's like, well, yes, you do know about this stuff, and what you said is correct, kind of thing. So in a way, it's like PI, but it's not at the same time. It's really weird. I'd say I'm a hell of a lot more confident to have a debate or a conversation regarding technological phenomenon. So. And I've quit weed, so...
Yeah, that's probably, like, a thing, right? Like, if you're trying to get your shit together, it's probably a thing, right?
Yes, quitting weed has definitely helped me understand and grasp concepts a hell of a lot more effectively and efficiently.
Just releasing your TE, man, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Because weed has a definite way of just... sucking your TE dry, and you just have no motivation. Like, everything's all any concept based metaphysical jargon.
Yeah, I get up off my arse and do things, and putting down the joint certainly helps with that.
Not my experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think that weed affects different types differently in some way. I notice things in different people, but for NFs, and maybe even a specific ENFP thing, is that it kind of, even though like our tertiary is difficult as it is, I mean, it takes a certain amount of energy. Like if you cloud your shit with weed, like the last thing you want to do is put energy into your tertiary.
Well, so Eric would be as critical on TE as we would be on FE, so it's probably the reason why he wouldn't give a flying fuck about it. I mean, doing 6,000 words a day, like, and having 3 different assignments a week by doing them, I mean, that requires quite a lot of fucking TE, so...
Yeah.
I would say my attentiveness to FE probably diminishes when I smoke weed a little bit. One thing I like about it is it allows me to narrow my attentional focus somewhat more to the project in front of me. So I'm not as likely to get scattered across multiple projects mid process.
It's kind of the opposite for me. It's like it retards my TE, so my NE gets more chance to have free reign, and it wants to just go into every metaphysical space it can find, and
Well, it's speaking coherently and articulating yourself as well. It just gets very difficult.
Yeah, it's interesting how it affects different types. I think I don't know if it's just particularly types, but also just different people. I don't know. But types does seem to have a bit of a thing. I mean, for me as well, I can get the fear quite a lot. If I smoke too much weed and that, I can get fear, anxiety, and shit as well. I think it's an SI thing.
I don't really suffer that. I suppose I'd get more. I'd be more concerned about my future. Like every now and then, I'll have this part in the back of my mind screaming at me by saying, "You're just going to die alone at 40."
That's it. That's exactly it. It's that you're going to die alone at 40. Sort of like there's these invasive thoughts of shit that the fucking, you know what I mean? You're like, dude, this is only weed. It's just like tame as fuck. Like, why am I getting this shit? You know what I mean?
But it's not like I'm like thinking that there's like some boogeyman hiding around the corner wanting to troll me or something.
It's
like
pervasive doom musings.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Pervasive doom musings don't link to anything in specific, except they link to lots of little things specific that you'll fixate on and go like, oh, but then this will cause doom, and then you realize, oh, that's probably not that big of a deal, and you go, well, then this other thing will cause doom.
Yeah, your NE just sets itself to work on every single pervasive doom thought that it could possibly pervade.
Yeah.
Seriously, what is it like? What was it the C.S. Joseph guy says? He says that any DOMs have NI nemesis. It means that we're constantly worried about our futures.
Well, yeah. Like, if you catch yourself in a serious moment and your NI actually gets a chance to fucking rear its ugly head and you go, oh, my life. You know what I mean? Like, that's the dangerous game right there.
Yeah, fuck that.
What the fuck am I doing in my life? You know, that shit, you know. Like, which is the reason why we self-medicate, so we can ignore the NI, right? Like, in the first place. Right, fuck. Those NI thoughts are scary, and that means I have to take life seriously. Fuck that. Like, give me as much drugs as possible so I don't have to listen to it.
I have to admit, like, you know, giving up the weed was quite difficult. Like, a couple of shots of Jack Daniels helped, like, you know, distract me.
I'm finding I'm drinking a lot more now that I don't smoke. I'm drinking a lot more.
Well, I've never really had like issues with alcohol. Like, alcohol's never
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well,
that's one thing as well that I've noticed about. It's a difference between the ENTP and the ENFP is that I think that ENFP is more likely to get fear, anxiety, problems with weed, like inabilities and difficulties, where ENTP is more likely to have problems with alcohol. It just seems like a thing, right? Like because alcohol feeds the kind of the evil devil on the shoulder narcissist kind of ENTP sort of bad side thing.
For sure.
ENFP doesn't have that, so we just get more likable and lovable and all the rest of it. Like, you know, we can kind of be dicks, but at the same time, we don't go that far. You know what I mean?
You nailed it on the ENTP relationship to alcohol. It does exactly what you said.
I've seen it, man. Yeah.
Is this just like something you've witnessed from your experience?
I mean,
me, yeah, I have. I've had ENTP friends that just should not fucking drink, and they know it, but they still do it, and they're fucking pricks because of it. And they just need to not do it.
Yeah, I've got an ENTP friend I see on a regular, and like he seems to be one of the only people that can encourage me to drink.
Yeah, it's just this self-deprecating hole that they get into, and because of the self-deprecation, they hate everybody around them, and it's just not a nice place. Like, it's fucking horrible to watch. Like, you know, my FI just goes, oh man, like this is just this is heartbreaking
This
to
is
watch.
gonna
Please
be
just,
ugly.
yeah, it's ugly as fuck.
This is gonna be ugly.
Yeah.
Well,
Please, yeah. For me, it's like, dude, you're hurting my FI so much. Please, like, either listen to me and let me help you out of this shit, or just like go away from me because I can't handle this. It's too strong. You know what I mean?
It's like ENTPs and ESTPs. Universities seem to they seem to be like blind to that, and even then, like even if they do notice it, they just think it's useless. I've noticed that a lot of the time they tend to target it in a way, like purposefully. Like
I think alcohol for FI polars probably. I mean, in moderation, it's okay, but like if it gets into sort of any kind of dependence or anything like that, it's a fucking issue. Like
that's probably why,
it's a vast generalization, but it's definitely my clear observation of that.
I've also observed as well, like they seem to be quite resilient to their self-deprecation thing. They can do something completely stupid in front of a load of people, and then they'll be completely fine about it the next day, completely forgotten.
Well, they're not fine about it. They're not fine.
ENTP? No, forgotten about the notion behind it, the connotations.
Are you talking about ENTPs?
ENTPs,
okay.
ESTPs.
Okay, see, I want to draw a distinction here. ESTPs deal with it way differently than ENTPs. ESTPs are the ones who can successfully sustain being an alcoholic and maintain their career as a boat salesman or something. You know?
I wasn't talking about the methodology on how they deal with it. I was talking about like the outcome. They forget about it.
ESTPs may and continue rolling along because they're less meaning drenched. But ENTPs are racked with shame and anxiety and self-loathing.
Yeah. And it comes out as severe negativity toward everybody else around them, and it's like
it doesn't always come out like
so
that.
Ugly.
It doesn't always come out like that, but it always comes out in some kind of bad way. Because mine didn't necessarily come out like that. It comes out in some other kind of fucking toxic way, though. If not
toxic and ugly is where it was going. Yeah,
for sure.
Like, yeah.
So I'm glad I quit drinking.
Yeah, that's probably one of the best steps that you could have taken.
Totally changed my life.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think of my one friend, like, I knew him since school, and he just got worse and worse and worse, and to the point he had some sort of, it was almost like schizophrenic paranoia kind of shit that was going on with him. It got so bad, like, he'd come round to my house, like, swigging out of bottles of straight vodka and stuff, and just sit muttering to himself in the corner, and, like, it was fucking horrible. Like, oh, fuck, you know, serious, like, oh, ugly, you know? It's just ugly to watch somebody else go through something like that, let alone what they're saying to everybody else, because that's beside the fucking point, you know what I mean? It's like, really, you could, you know, they're hurting themselves way more than they're hurting anybody else at that point, you know? They're not hitting anybody or hurting anybody physically, but they're fucking, it's ugly, you know?
Right.
It's, yeah.
You can be certain that the ENTP in the throes of that kind of dark alcoholism, they hate themselves and condemn themselves more than anybody else ever possibly could.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so written all over them, you know. Like, I mean, you have to be able to look a little deeper than just
they're not going to advertise it, right? They're not going to advertise that fact.
Yeah.
When they're sobered up, they're not going to. They're, you know, but yeah, you're right. You read them correctly.
That's what I mean. Like, they forget, and it only comes back once they put themselves in the same kind of, I'd say the same kind of SI situation. Like, you know, you're drunk, you're in the same kind of environment you were before, and then the emotions come back in just the same intensity.
Oh, I see what you're meaning. Yeah, like,
I don't think we forget. I think we hope it won't happen this time, or something, or we just don't think about it. We just get numb.
It might be different for you. But I've recently got pretty close with an ENTP dude of mine. Like, it just seems to be that kind of pattern with him. It might just be a pattern of him as an individual. It might just be one of those things that can't be quantified by a certain time.
But then, I know what you mean as well, Phil, because there's this kind of thing of once you're, you know, or once maybe, you know, the ENTP is there, like absolutely fucking hammered, you know, like just fucked, and then the care is no more. I mean, like one step away from like pissing yourself because you're so drunk, and like then the FI is no longer kind of a barrier so much, and it's this kind of really raw kind of self-expression of FI, self-loathing, and all this stuff comes out, and it's very raw FI stuff comes out, and like the polar is not so much of a barrier anymore and stuff. But is that what you mean by like the forgetting? Because like when they go to that place and you talk with them and stuff, and they really sort of, they seem like they see what it is that's going on, but then
entirely,
you know, it's like this cycle where that happens over and over and over again, where like deep in the throes of the alcoholic mist, like there's some sort of clarity that happens, but it's clouded clarity,
because it didn't happen that often, and he did, like, you know, he did notice the pattern. It's like it wasn't something he was consciously aware of, it just happened and he didn't notice it until I made it clear to him. When I made it clear to him, he realized it, and then he came up with a solution.
I mean, I think the polar FI means attending to things other than your feelings most of the time. And so what the consequence of that is that it's not that like it gets in the way when you're sober. It's that when you're not sober, your feelings, your attentional, you lose grasp of your attentional will. And the most animal and inherent part of us links to the physical in that capacity. So even if you're drunk, you'll still feel it. If you break your arm, even if you're drunk, you're still going to be carrying with you the emotions. If you're getting drunk all the time, you're feeling pretty awful about yourself. And then instead of attending to something other than your emotional state, it's just bleeding through into whatever else you're saying, you know, or you're talking about it directly.
Yeah, there's like, I mean, there's like that whole Dutch courage thing where it's the talking about it directly sort of thing. Yeah, like that's what I experienced with my friend, and like it was really kind of horrible for me because often, you know, we'd drink together and stuff, and like he would take it way too far. You know, I would only be in like 6 beers or something. He'd be fucking smashed. You know, and like it felt like, you know, I was reaching his FI on some level, and he was, you know, getting it and saying like, you know, this isn't good for me. I'm fucking a mess. I'm you know, but at that point was only ever time he would ever admit it, because he was just so proud, you know, and like there was more than pride there. There was fear and all sorts of other things. But the best way to express it is just like, you know, when he wasn't in that state, that absolute fucked state, like he was just too strong, too proud to kind of go there with the admission of what it was and how it was affecting him, and really sort of connect with that and be open about it and express it in some way. And it was quite bad for me, you know, obviously being NEFI and making connections with people on that level, and then making a connection with somebody on that level, but they were only ever able to get, or not only
I see what you guys are saying now. You know, I get it now. I didn't get it until you guys explained it, but what you're pointing out is that if he had continued to feel so strongly, or pay attention to his strong feelings in the way that you guys normally do, about your own feelings, then he wouldn't have persisted in the behavior so consistently, because those strong feelings would have dissuaded him from persisting in the behavior. The next morning when he wakes up, he returns his attentional habits to their normal array, and immediately begins ignoring it, and or having some sort of a ritual of self-flagellation, like I did. Like, I'd wake up every morning, get in the shower, and say, shame and anxiety, I wish I were dead, and have this mantra that I'd say over and over again, you know? And just use a lot of language to berate and belittle and shame myself as much as possible. And then, once I leave the shower and start my day, I still persist in that kind of talk throughout the day, but that's not the sort of talk that makes you go, oh, I'm not going to do it again. That's the sort of talk that makes you go, you don't deserve any better.
I need to keep doing it. Yeah.
Right. You're worthless and irredeemable. My message to it wasn't so much that I didn't have a problem with it or something like that. It was that it's too late for me, and I'm not somebody who's going to ever be able to quit, because I'm not going to be able to buy into that AA bullshit, and it doesn't make enough sense, and I'm too smart for it or whatever. So, and it's too late for me now, because I'm already 40 some years old or whatever I was, probably 40, 41. I was in this state, and I'm just gonna drink myself to death.
Yeah.
Well, my friend doesn't have like massive drinking problems. Like what Saul said, it's like me and him go on a drink out quite regular, and it's weird. It's like if there ever is a punchline of like an ENFP and an ENTP walk into the bar, we would be it completely. It's like it's really weird with him when he's drunk and that. I'd be quite happy to fuck the same girl that I'm fucking. You know. It's incredibly weird, like getting completely drunk with like an ENTP. It's like we're similar, but we're not at the same time. It's just weird, but it's a pleasure. I'd say like drinking with him. Like I do enjoy going out to Camden and having a good old flirt with a few birds. You know.
I mean, as long as as long as you can get a bunch of ENTPs, ENFPs together, as long as everybody's operating on their dominant function, it's all kosher. As soon as one party starts prioritizing their 100%. Tool function, shit gets a little rocky. So,
it's not weird. It's like you wouldn't expect it. With him, he's interested in philosophy and sociology, and I'm interested in engineering and science. It's like we both respect each other's tool and tertiary functions because we both want to specialize in what we are naturally good at, and that's what brings about the compatibility. Isn't that kind of strange?
Well, I mean,
not so much in a way. No,
I
think that what Eric was saying there was that I don't think it's so much as the tool. I think
it's like
the tool function isn't always so much of a thing. I mean, like just take for example, like you and I talking just now, Eric, where I'll talk to you about FI stuff and that, and if it's like a one-on-one or a small group situation, it's not so bad, right? Like, and it's actually quite bonding. You know, I mean, to have ENTP, ENFP talking about stuff, tool function stuff, and all the rest of it, but it's like. It's that dark side stuff, maybe more some of the issues kind of thing, like they're caused of something else, like that thing about drinking for the ENTP or the sort of anxiety of the ENFP or something like that, and if those things start coming up, those cause the problems. Like that's like like Whiskey saying, like, the guy likes to, like, he'd like to fuck the same girl as me or whatever, like, and that's like, it brings anxiety and it causes problems, and it's like, it should be cool, but it's not cool, you know what I mean? And it's like these sorts of things, I guess, more than just sort of like the tool function, I think, personally.
No, there's no friction at all. Same Enneagram, we have the same instinctual variant, but we're just like, one's an ENFP and one's an ENTP. Dude, we've even fucked the same girl.
Here's the thing. If you were to come into conflict, it would likely be because there was a single issue that you guys both were adjudicating and hoping to come to agreement upon for some reason. You needed to agree. And one of you judged it one way with your tool function, the other one judged it the other with their tool function. They're in conflict.
I see. Yeah, okay, I see what you mean.
Oh, there is one thing. Politics. That's the only thing we don't agree on. Apart from
that's always going to be a thing, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if like
But
if
we
there's,
do come. We do.
it depends how much
Yeah.
priority
We
there
do
is towards
understand.
agreeing. That's the point. That's one point I want to get in here is
Yeah.
how much priority is there amongst the parties about agreement, which means like are we like about the conversations we've been talking about today, uh, they're not ones that are very contentious at all. Like talking about the sad stuff, that's obviously not contentious at all. We're not looking to agree or disagree. We're, I guess, commiserating with each other, or you're commiserating with me, or I don't know what that is exactly, but um, it's not contentious at all. And then this
Yeah.
conversation here, which is sort of exploratory, it's also not contentious. We're not really making affirmations, although you could say any of these given statements that I'm making as such. They're they're very open-ended
They're not
affirmations.
strongly held affirmations. They're kind of, thrown out there kind of things.
I'd
More
say they're
sort of,
open too.
yeah,
they're not drawing clear, distinct, hard lines that might run afoul of somebody else's
Ah,
yeah,
you would think
understandings.
that, but we do actually. We do have agreements, and we do draw lines on things, and we do happen to agree each other. It's just there are certain things that we don't, and
yeah,
we don't. What we do is we just don't resolve them.
yeah. Well, that's what it is, and it's like when you get
We
there
need
will be
to,
agreement and there will be disagreement because there will be kind of because of the methodology of thinking and the process of it. Like there's some sort of code, I guess, and like some things go with the other guy's code, some things don't. And if you get stuck on the shit that doesn't go with the other guy's code and you start butting heads about it, that's when the problems start, right? Like
Right.
it's interesting.
we would just critique each other's thinking and feeling. Like we're extroverted thinkers, and they're and like his introverted thinkers like are going to conflict like with introverted feelers and extroverted feelers. I
Yeah.
just think wise like
It's
ethics versus morality.
it's also kind of unfortunate as well in a way because both sides of that with any TI or any FI, like you can actually really learn a lot from one another. But unfortunately, a lot of the time on both sides, there's this kind of like you're more interested in putting your own thought across because all you can think is this guy is not getting where I'm coming from, so I just have to keep hammering it home until he gets where I'm coming from.
No, I just
right? Like, well, maybe not in this in your particular circumstance, but it is something that I often come across with ENTPs. Like if you get into politics or I don't know certain of these kind of clinching kind of issues or whatever, certain linchpin issues and things, is that can come across as that you're. It depends maybe on the anagram type or like how chill the person is or whatever, or how sort of dominant or submissive the personality is in general. But I'm pretty like especially if I've had a couple of drinks with me and I want to kind of like I say like no, I mean like I see where you're coming from, but you've got to see where I'm coming from. You know what I mean? And it goes both ways. So both people are doing that at the same time and not really meeting one another in the middle, which would be the best thing that could happen. And a lot of the time, unfortunately, it doesn't. And you just kind of end up going, no, listen to me. I want you to understand why, because where that actually comes from is actually it's a respect for the other person. I want you to listen to where I come from. I want you to understand where I am coming from because I actually value you and I value what like you think, and I want to show you something. I want to kind of show you what I think about something. Otherwise, I wouldn't be interested. I wouldn't be getting this worked up if I didn't value you, right? Like because if I didn't care, I'd just be like, yeah, whatever. Like so that's kind of an interesting thing, right?
I think it has a lot to do with mood too, though. It's not just type; it's mood.
Sure.
And that I guess is something to do with FI probably, or a lot to do with it. But I often am very unaware of my mood. Sometimes I'll note, oh, I'm in a pissy mood right now. But a lot of times I'll be in a pissy mood for a while before I note it. And also, sometimes I'm in a very, I'm in a pretty tranquil mood right now. I'm feeling like chill, and
Yeah.
you know, it has it has so much to do with so many things. Is what mood you're in.
Yeah.
With my friends, like I value friendship quite a lot because when we talk and chill, like we don't when we have conversations, we bounce off our any and we go into our second function. We both seem to maintain an objective standpoint. He will tell me something he thinks or believes in, and I'll be like, that's interesting. And then we'll pick each other's ideas and that apart, and it's stimulating to a degree. Like what he says, I know that he's just being objective, and then I don't get offended by what he says or anything. Even when he's being passionate about his beliefs and he vehemently disagrees with what I'm saying, I just find it quite interesting picking it apart, picking my ideas, his ideas, and no one ever ends up getting offended because even when I talk about Brexit, talk about this, that, and the other, I've never really truly been offended by what he says. Not at all.
I think a lot of that stuff's about like conveyed language. So like you have to kind of, and I think that's maybe where the Enneagram stuff comes in as well. Is
He's
that
the same as me.
yeah? So it's maybe you kind of understand each other on this kind of inherent level where you're not sort of you're not overstepping boundaries that each of you understand is boundaries that you don't overstep, right? Like you don't speak to each other in a certain way. This is okay and this isn't okay, and because you're both very similar on the Enneagram sort of thing, and you know,
And the instinctive variants as well. We're both SOS.
yeah. So
both social
maybe it's got something to do with that. Like you know, you're not pushing each other's buttons, you know, because you're both running on the same idea of how interrelation goes, right? Like it's not like, you know, well, fuck you, man, you can't say that to me, you can't treat me like this, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I mean, you know, I've got respect for you and shit, but like, you can't fucking talk to me like this. Like, you know,
I don't know.
I'm only gonna take this for so long, you know.
I've come out of pubs after having fights with some pricks, and me and him will perfectly have a good old conversation afterwards. And he'll even tell me that I'm being a twat, and I'll be like, yeah, fair enough, man.
Yeah, it is really funny how you can say the exact same thing to one person and then to another person, even if they're the same type, and one person will react extremely negatively, and the other person will be like, "Yeah, sure, cool, that's no problem. Yeah, I fucked up." Like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah, I get that. I know what you're saying. Oh man, I've been an outsider and I've witnessed it as well, and it's
yeah,
it's quite funny.
yeah.
It's like, dude, you're being a dick. Why are you calling me a dick? He's like, dude, you are being a dick. He's like, oh well, maybe I am.
Yeah, like when like that's when you notice it most, right? Like when you point it out to somebody else, and then like they react to you like with extreme negativity, and then fucking somebody else just goes, "No, man, you are being a dick," and then they go, "All right, shit, am I? Sorry." And you're like, are you fucking for real right here? Like, what was the difference between what you said, what I said, and what this fucker over here said? Like, are you serious? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something I've noticed. Like, yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Fun stuff. So I suppose like he's helped me value a lot of FE and TI standpoints, like obviously, and bearing that in mind, I've become a lot more flexible, and I'm kind of filling a void in a way with the lack of TI on my end. It's helping me with my ideas and being innovative as well. And I cover his ass with his FI things because like I will say them issues of like, you know, his housemates that he would have overlooked without me pointing them out to him. So he helps me in my logical consistencies. I help him with like his own personal issues, and
Yeah.
it seems to be quite a beneficial
Yeah, it can. Like, I think it really can be, like, between NFP and ENTP on that fucking scale, like, for sure.
It's like he's on an equal, like me and him are equal planes of intelligence as well. We see each other as equals.
Yeah.
Like when he has something to say, I shut up and listen, and likewise of him. And like, you know, it's rare to find friends like that, and thankful for it. So.
It's the wonders of extroverted intuition.
Say that again, man.
I said it's the wonders of extroverted intuition.
Yeah.
I gotta go. I'm feeling super sleepy. I gotta take off, you guys. I gotta go take a nap. I'm gonna fall asleep out here. Thanks for being here. Nice chatting with you. Emotion makes me sleepy. Emotion puts me like right to sleep.